from the New International Version of the Holy Writ. Are ferocious wolves. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the fire. Say, bad fruit go to hell. Thus, by their fruit, you will recognize them. Verse 15, watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious or ravenous wolves. Let me talk to you a few minutes on the simple subject, watch out for them wolves. Watch out for them wolves. Wolves in sheep clothing probably originated from an Aesop fable wherein a wolf dresses up in sheep wool in order to blend in with the flock, which would make it easier for the wolf to feast on the sheep for breakfast, lunch, and dinner all day long. Wolf in sheep's clothing could just hang out with the sheep. And whenever he got ready, he could just reach and grab a sheep and then go back to looking like a sheep, though he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Aesop gave us also fables like the little boy who cried wolf. How many of y'all remember that? Little shepherd boy sitting on a hillside watching the sheep, and he gets bored, as so many of us can do so easily. Sometimes when you ask folk, why did you do what you do? I was just bored. So the little shepherd boy gets bored, young people, and so in order to amuse himself, he would shout out, the wolf is coming, the wolf is coming. And the village people would run out to the hillside because the little boy cried out, the wolf is coming. And the story tells us that the little boy did this over and over, and the people would run out to deal with the threat of the big bad wolf. But after several times, they got wise to the little boy's game and decided not to fall for the okie doke anymore. But then, true enough, the little boy did it again, hollered out at the top of his voice, the wolf is coming, the wolf is coming. But no one showed up. But this time, the wolf was really coming. And later on, perhaps during the late 16th century, Charles Perrault gave us the rendition of Little Red Riding Hood. How many of y'all remember Little Red Riding Hood? See, help me, young preacher. Good to see you, Sister Suzette, with your grandchild. He knows the story about Little Red Riding Hood. A young girl on her way to see her grandma, and a slick, cunning, and sly wolf deceives both the grandmother and the young girl and eats them both. Different fairy tales with similar tragic endings, where the sheep gets eaten up. And then Jesus enters into human history and uses the wolf as a symbolic gesture of warning to his disciples and to us about the deceptive practices of false prophets. Jesus says, watch out for them wolves in sheep clothing. Which brings me to the first point. And you get ready to write it down, because it's going to be a long point. Let me take my time. The point is this: just because it dresses like a sheep, walks like a sheep, and bleeps like a sheep, does not make it a sheep. Let me see if I can repeat that. Just because it dresses like a sheep, walks like a sheep, and bleeps like a sheep, does not make it a sheep. Let me see if I can put it this way. The devil can preach a good sermon, just because it dresses like a sheep and walks like a sheep and bleeps like a sheep doesn't make it a sheep. They come to you in sheep's clothing, Jesus said. And allow me to quickly say that Jesus is not using the wolf as a code name for the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the Zealots, the scribes, or any of the usual suspects who he often had to refer to. Instead, Jesus is here referring to so-called prophets who claim to be sheep of his flock. These are not folks who may sin unintentionally, or who may sin just by falling short. These are folks who preach and teach a selective love based on race, creed, color, etc., etc. Let me see if I can help somebody. As a young boy trying to work out my relationship to Christ, I saw the false prophets dressed in sheep clothes. They dressed up on Sunday morning like sheep. They walked into church like they were sheep. They bleeped from the pulpit and the pews like they were sheep. But underneath the sheep clothes was a KKK robe. Inside the church was a United States flag, which meant more to them than the people whom the flag purported to represent. And they preached love, but it was a selective love as they cheated poor folks, stole their government assistance commodities, worked them without putting a dime into their Social Security for possible retirement. And today, they got a new term for it. It's called Christian nationalism, which claims that the United States of America is a Christian nation only. Explain that to the Native Americans who was here but got relegated to a reservation. Explain Christian nationalism to that poor white man and all of the women and the black man who had to fight for the right to vote against feudal landlords. Explain Christian nationalism. Explain that to babies and children whom we refuse to protect from daily gun violence and the proliferation of drugs in their communities. Explain that Christian nationalism to the residents of Flint, Michigan, a predominantly poor black and poor white citizenry town where the Christian governor and the state legislature switched from a clean water source to a dirty water source in order to save money and poison thousands upon thousands with lead-based drinking water. And the case was closed the other day without anybody being charged with any kind of crime against humanity. Yet, they want to stand up and hold the Bible. There are those who just elected a quiet, I legislate according to my heart, Speaker of the House of Representatives, who, with a Bible in one hand and a piece of paper in the other hand, sought to overthrow the government of the United States of America. Do y'all remember the last time some Bible thumping, wolves in sheep clothing tried to overthrow the government of the United States of America? And they called it a civil war because they wanted to continue to do what? Hold slaves. Y'all ain't praying with me this morning. I'm preaching by myself. Watch out for them wolves. I don't know about y'all, but like Hall and Oates used to sing, I can't go for that. No can do. No can do. I'm sorry. I'm not falling for the okie doke. Don't run up to me. I've got relatives in my family who told me, I thank you so much for a sermon way back that I preached talking about this white nationalism. I'm sorry, this so-called Christian nationalism. And they were trying to do right. They said we should be able to go to a church where the pastor doesn't necessarily have to be the same color. And I said, you're right. And I asked him, well, does the pastor ever say anything that pertains to your specific self? And they said no and got up and marched out of that church. That's what needs to happen when you know that people are speaking an exclusive gospel instead of an inclusive gospel. I remember so well, Brother Dave, when Pastor Porter first introduced me to you, my blue-eyed soul brother. He said, "This is Dave Bortall." He said, "Dave said, I grew to a point in my life where I really didn't trust people too much. But then I came to Burnside Community Baptist Church and I found some folks that I could trust." Well, Brother Dave and congregation, that is what it's all about. That's how you determine whether or not you're dealing with false prophets and false prophetesses and wolves in sheep clothing. You can't trust them. Hey! Let me get on to the second point, because I got to hurry up and get out of here. Second point is this. A wolf is not a fruit bearer. Jesus said it. A wolf is not a fruit bearer. He says you will recognize them by their fruit. He says a good tree does not bear bad fruit, and a bad tree does not bear good fruit. And Jesus is looking at, back in his day, there was a tree called a buckthorn. Now, buckthorn had some little dark berries on it that looked like grapes, but they were not grapes. Help me, somebody. See, it ain't a way, it ain't a how you look, it's how you love. You can look the part, but if you don't love like Jesus loved. Oh, I wish I had a witness up in here. Bobby Blue Bland said, "Ain't no love in the heart of the city." Well, I stopped by to say, ain't no love in the heart of a wolf. Let me just say this. Wolves are not just in the pulpit. Wolves are not just in the pew. Sometimes they can be in your house. That's why before you hook up, shack up, marry up, whatever you do, check out the fruit. Wolf has no fruit to feed you. He or she only has a self-interest. Do you know what a wolf's self-interest is? To eat you. What did the wolf say to Little Red Riding Hood? You know, "Oh, grandmother." She said, "Oh, grandmother, what big teeth you have." He said, "Yes. Big teeth so that I can eat you." Jesus said, "Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word which proceedeth from the mouth of God." Every word which proceeded from the mouth of God. Do you get a word picture when Jesus says that? Of a mother who chews up her food for her babies and then feeds them. Every word which proceeded from the mouth of God. Ask some of these older mothers in here how they fed their babies long before there was baby food in a jar. Mama would take her baby's food and chew it up and chew it up and chew it up until it was palatable for her baby. Then she would take her fingers and hold it to her baby's mouth And you ought to see them little babies back then. Every now and then you got to see yourself saying, Lord, don't let me be speaking on my own. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to take the food that you want me to give to your people. And God, I want you to chew it up. Chew it up. Chew it up. And then feed me your preacher. Feed me your preacher. And then let me feed your people. And let me feed them in such a way that they're able to say, oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. I got to get on. I got to get on because somebody's asking, said, well, preacher, what is the answer? How do I avoid them false wolf sheep? Here it is in the last point. Don't hire a shepherd. Sell yourself to the good shepherd. Don't hire a shepherd. Where are you getting that from? Don't hire a shepherd. Don't bring folks into your life. Be it a pastor, a teacher, evangelist, significant other. Don't bring them into your life just because you can buy them. My daughter said to me, Daddy, I wonder, did you set the standard too high? I said, what you mean? She said, you know, every time I look up, one of these jokers come up to me and they want to know how much do I make. And you told me never ever tell a man how much you make. Daddy, did you think you set the standard too high? I said, no. All I'm trying to tell you is, don't you ever lower your standard Lord, to reach somebody who really don't mean you any good. Don't you hire a shepherd, but sell yourself to the good shepherd. Where you get that from, preacher? It's in John 10. Jesus said, I am your good shepherd. And the good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. But the hired hand is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when the hired shepherd sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. And then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters the flock. Did you hear what Jesus said? Says, if you done hired somebody and the going get tough, they get going. I didn't know it was going to be this hard paying them bills. I didn't know raising children was going to be this hard. I did not know trying to work on a marriage was going to be this hard, so I'm out of here. Jesus says, this hired hand sees the wolf coming. He abandons the sheep and run away. And we wonder why so much crazy stuff is going on in the neighborhood. The wolf is on the prowl. And he knows that there have been too many hired hands who has abandoned the household. And the wolf is taking advantage of it. The good shepherd knows what a wolf looks like. The good shepherd knows how to defeat a wolf. The good shepherd can produce everything the sheep needs to survive whatever the wolf tries to do to you. Let me close this. What you saying, preacher? You see, a wolf can scatter a sheep. But can a wolf guide a sheep? No. But Jesus can guide a sheep. He leads me beside the still waters. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Get rid of that hired sheep. Get yourself a sheep who you can sell out to. Because the wolf will come at you. A wolf can kill a sheep. But can a wolf protect and save a sheep? No. But Jesus can. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort and protect me. A wolf can eat up a sheep, but can a wolf feed a sheep? No. But Jesus can. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, and he prepareth a table before me in the presence of my enemy. I'm trying to quit this. A wolf can attack a sheep, but can a wolf heal a sheep? No, but Jesus can. He anointeth my head with oil. A wolf can threaten and cause instability in a sheep, but can a wolf guarantee eternal security for a sheep? No, no, no. But my Jesus can. Surely, not maybe, but surely, his goodness and his mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and you shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever and ever. That's eternal security. Well, do not hire a shepherd, but sell out to the good shepherd. Excuse me here. I done got a little happy. I'm all sold out. No room, no vacancies. I'm all sold out. For the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Feed me with the bread of heaven until I want no more. Feed me till my cup runneth over. Hey, 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 hey. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Oh, the door is open. The door is open. The door of the church is open. The door of the church is open. I don't care what come and how these folks try to sell themselves as sheep. We know. And I'm calling on my Southern Baptists and others in the South who once claimed to be the moral majority. I'm calling on you all. Think about what it means to follow a wolf in sheep's clothing. See, a wolf will tell you, I have nothing to ever confess about being a wolf who devour and destroy other people's lives. So why follow that kind of person? I'm asking for any of those, don't just text me with crazy stuff. Don't get on Facebook with just crazy stuff, but just ask yourself a few fundamental questions. Do you want to stand before God and have to hear him saying, you followed false leadership. You followed a false shepherd who meant no good, who was only interested in whom? Himself. Himself. Let's just watch it, church. Let's just watch it, audience, and let's see what happens in about a year from now when it's time to elect another president of these yet to be United States of America. God have mercy on us in Jesus' name. The door of the church is open. If you're here today out of the ark of safety, if you're here today and you have not given your life to Christ, or if you're here today and you strayed away from the church and you say, you know what, I want to come home. I want to come back to the church. I want to reunite in the fellowship. You come on. Give us your right hand while you give your heart to God. We'll be more than happy to receive you right now. If you're listening by whatever medium of communication and you say, I want to call or I want to reach the church in whatever kind of way, feel free to do so. You can call us at area code 773-994-5367. Or you can reach us on the World Wide Web at